Hey, needless to say, all of the music and the art that you've seen is, of course, machine learning generated. Thank you for coming back more or less on time, but good enough. So it's now really my pleasure to introduce Spyros. So for those who know INSEAD, one of the real jewels of the school is an amazingly dynamic, high-quality decision sciences department. And Spyros is basically the man who built that, joining INSEAD in 1970. He's written over 20 books on the topic. 20 books. We're not have time to go through a whole book today, just so you know. Okay, 20 books on the topic, remains active, and is the currently director of the Institute of the Future at the University of Nicosia. So just incredibly ability to stay at the cutting edge, which must mean you're thinking some about AI. Ladies and gentlemen, Spyros.
Thank you, thank you. Well, I'm going to talk about the fourth human revolution, and I'm going to concentrate on AI. But more than AI, I'm going to talk about intelligence augmentation. Okay. I'll start by saying that there are fantastic achievements that have happened through AI, but there is also a lot of hype. A lot of hype. And we have to be able to separate the two. In '97, there was a book called The Future Shock, and it was predicting that change is so fast that we won't be able to keep up with it. It would be like driving a fast car and we cannot control it. None of this happened. As a matter of fact, in the 70s and 80s, there was a very stable period of time. Okay, so let's look then at the big achievements of AI. Self-driving cars, stores with no cashiers, Google being able to scan and do X-rays better than doctors, and robots. The question a lot of people ask, what's going to happen then with human jobs? Okay, and that's part of what I would like to talk about. There are a lot of people, and Ray Kurzweil is probably the most optimistic person about the future of AI. Basically, he says by 2029, humans will have reached the intelligence, or machines will reach the intelligence of humans, and by 2045, AI will become the smartest things in the world. But there are a lot of people who don't agree with that. Judea Pearl is somebody who has contributed a lot to develop AI. He has won a lot of awards. Basically, what he's saying is everything that we try to do now, they were doing the same thing 20 years ago, and now it's very popular to call it AI. And as a matter of fact, it's not AI. Okay. Another person, Ali Rahimi, who is a senior scientist, data scientist, basically what he's saying is AI is alchemy. We don't understand what is going on. Okay. It's like operating in an alien world. Okay. And maybe the reality is someplace in between. Okay. Now, what basically happens through each one of the revolutions, machines are doing more and more of what humans are doing. Starting with manual tasks, moving to mental, repetitive tasks, and now we go to high-level mental tasks. So what's going to happen to jobs? What's going to happen to the future of humanity? Okay. The achievements of AI There are three. First of all, games. Nobody can beat AI in games. Not even in games like chess and Go, but even in poker. Okay? In addition to games, AI excels in image, speech, and text recognition. But it doesn't do very much beyond that. The limitations of AI. At least I don't know of many great applications beyond games, image, text and speech recognition. AI does not understand anything. AI is a black box. I don't want to be depressing, huh? After all, this is a conference about AI. But for instance, we did a big competition talking about predictions, and we found out that the most accurate machine learning method was less accurate than the worst of statistical methods. And I don't know, I have been doing a lot of work in forecasting. I don't know of any method, of any research where artificial intelligence or machine learning methods is more accurate than statistical ones. Okay. There are a lot of things we can go. The most important thing is AI cannot understand causalities. Part of what Pearl Judea was saying, he's written a very good book. It's called The Book of Why. You cannot get AI to reason. You cannot get AI to understand causalities. Okay. And basically, if you realize that what AI is doing is a very small part of what we do in our everyday life. Now, let me go beyond where is the state of the art of AI and see what is happening in computers. We know very well that computers, they are faster, memory is increasing exponentially, and one technology that moves a lot is nanotechnology. This is a computer, the same with the size of a salt. And what could be the implications of this? Right now, if we move from AI to IA, Intelligence Augmentation, okay, the problem right now is the keyboard and the screen. It's something that slows our interaction with computers. But soon, with the voice communications, we'll be able to talk directly to the computer. In addition, we're not going to need screens. We're going to have projections every place. And that will take away a big obstacle that we have communicating with computers. The other one will be the widespread utilization of the cloud. We don't need to have a fancy computer. Eventually, we'll be able to have a watch, and through voice communications, we'll be able to communicate with the computer. And we're not going to need a screen because the screen can be projected any place. And this is going to change a lot of what we're doing. The next area of intelligence augmentation will be non-invasive ways that we're going to communicate directly with the computer. And things like this already are happening. Okay. imagine then that through this we'll be able to have direct access to all of the information that is now in the computer. In other words, we're going to have a Google directly into our brain. Another way of non-invasive brain-to-computer interaction, you know, with the late Steve Hawking, who the computer was reading his face, and it was creating voice commands. Okay, so there are ways already existing that this is happening. The next level, we're talking about invasive brain-to-computer interactions. And already, for people who have problems, paralyzed, or other problems, they can use invasive, it's still in the beginning, invasive ways of communicating their brain with the computer. The next level will be when we'll be able to insert into our brain one of these small computers. Imagine the possibilities. Not only will have Wi-Fi interactions directly with the computer, but we may be able to have interactions between our brain and the brain of other people. And this may seem like a science fiction, but there is a lot already going on, and it's going to continue. We're not going to let artificial intelligence to develop, and we're going to do nothing, and basically become the pets of computers. If we manage to keep up with intelligence augmentation, we'll always be ahead of computers. The possibilities are endless, okay? The possibilities are endless. One of the things that it's very clear when we talk about forecasting is we always underestimate the rate of technological change. We always extrapolate linearly. In 1828, when there was a big question if cars are going to replace horses, a famous economist at this time said, "Don't talk about nonsense. There is no way that a car will be able to operate inside the busy streets of a city." Imagine having told at this time that there will be cars driving by themselves inside the busy street of a city. We have been more than science fiction, okay? Nobody would have believed somebody saying these things at that time. This is my favorite sketch. In 1900, in France, to celebrate the new century, they make a series of sketches how will be life in the year 2000. And that's a modern kitchen in the year 2000. Okay. Still, there are little kids working. Okay. And they are very well dressed. That's the big revolution in the thinking of the people at this time. So my feeling, and what I think we have learned from predictions, from trying to analyze predictions, we were too slow in understanding and in believing at the extent of technological change. Okay. There are two things that have to happen for a technology to take off. People have to put money in there, and there are already people putting money and putting a lot of money to try to create brain-to-computer interactions. Brian Johnson has a company called Braintree. He spends a lot of time and a lot of money trying to do that. We all know Elon Musk. I don't know if we can believe him. But basically, he's saying he's only a few months away from doing it. Okay. So my feeling is, what's going to be the future? Not the future of AI, but the future of AI with intelligent augmentation. And what will be the implications? Okay. This is a picture, a photograph of kids working in the middle of 1800. I mean, we have to accept that technology has made fantastic progress. Okay. There are great benefits. There are not major negatives. In my view, the major negative will be income inequality. And the income inequality will be both within countries, but most important, between countries. Poor countries, they used to have poor labor to attract investment. Right now, we're not going to need poor labor. Robots will do the work. But if you look at the major parts of what worries a lot of people about artificial intelligence, there's a continuous progress. Unemployment hasn't increased with technology. Unemployment increases with business cycles. A week ago, there was a review about what is the unemployment in the United States, and it was only 3.7%, the lowest in the last, 50 years. Technology creates jobs. It destroys jobs, but it creates more jobs than what it destroys. Look at the next one, extreme poverty, how it goes down. Literacy rate, how it goes up. And the GDP, in constant terms, it's growing exponentially. Okay? So the problem with technology, it's not one that's going to be against humanity. And all of the things they say that we're going to be the pets of computers, they cannot stand if we can assume intelligence augmentation, if we can assume that we're going to keep up with computers. And the most important thing is look at life expectancy. Life expectancy until the first industrial revolution, it was constant to less than 40 years. Right now in Japan, it's more than 80. Okay. So there are great opportunity. And for me, the most important question, and I hope it's going to be discussed in the panel that follows, the most important question is what's going to, all of this going to hold for you. But there's a complementarity of AI and intelligence augmentation. Okay. And what AI is doing now, no matter what people are saying, is a very small percentage of what we do every day. And it's going to take very, very long time, very, very long time for artificial intelligence to reach the intelligence of 1 year old. And I don't think that it will ever happen, at least in the next couple of centuries, that AI will be able to make causal relationships. Okay? That's not mine. Thank you very much.
Oh. Perfect. Excellent. Thank you.